Oh, for fuck's sake. I was plugging and unplugging the wrong damn thing. And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, people. Welcome to today's episode of this shit show, which I'm returning to the good old days of learning and laughter, so fingers crossed we can keep it that way. But more than I'm big. Not blocking you, so nothing is illegal, and fix that up. So I think we're good. It's check 1, 2, 3. Yeah, not today. It wasn't. Oh, that doesn't surprise me. I was messing around with the audio and I was hoping to try and fix things up, but hang on. Let me just very quickly see here. Why do we? I don't like that. I don't like how big my head is on it. That's better. No, that's going to be much better, but we'll wait and see. Settings. Audio. Ah, that's why it's tinny. The mic is coming through the camera.
There we go. That should be better. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Oh, Acorn, for a second there, I thought you said that you were extremely disappointed in keeping your mouth shut. I was like, Jesus, what, another one I've disappointed? But anyway. So we're heading back to our regular routes, shall we say. I pulled up a bunch of videos that we're going to watch that I'm going to be able to comment on. And if anyone has any that they want to send through to me, I won't be looking at them today. And tomorrow we're back on Karen Reed. But I need to get back to doing what we do best on this channel, which is watching funny shit, watching court cases, watching whatever else. And I just basically need to get stuck into it. So we're going to be starting off today with a... I'm going to be starting off today. Oh, fuck off. Really? There we go. That's better. We're starting off today with one of Isaac Butterfield's videos. So this is... Oh, son of a bitch. I've got to get out of this town. I don't know why, but the Starlink does not work when it's... Oh, hang on. I've got to wait for the car in front of me now. 1 minute. I'm not sure if it's the... I'm assuming it must be the trees. Because the reception, once I get open... And honestly, this is why I generally don't start the streams until I've actually left the town, because I don't get reception, presumably because of the angle of the trees and the buildings. So unless the satellite's coming directly overhead, you just don't get much in terms of reception. So, but we know and we learn better. So, hello, greedy bloke. Yeah, look, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Let's put it that way. So I'm always trying to mess around with stuff. I'm always trying to. It's the angle of the dangle. You're somewhat patient. Well, I appreciate you being patient. Actually, you know what? I appreciate each and every one of you being patient with me as a streamer as a whole, because you know what? This weekend, people, there will be a members stream. There will be a bitch session this weekend. So make sure that you've double-checked whether or not you're green, whether or not you're going to be green with envy, and you can sit and listen to me bitch and moan, because we are going to have a vent stream. Cut to the Chase is back! Fantastic. So as I was saying, I've preloaded some videos, one of which was passed on to me by someone on X. I believe their name was Overlaw'd, I hope. Maybe not. But apparently some shit's gone down with a PDF file here in Australia, so I'm going to watch a video about that. We've got vegan booty. We've got a court case. We've got my cable turning on my heater. Interesting. All right, so we should have perfectly good reception now. Hello, Kate. Good to see you again. Streamers blame the infrastructure like crimes blame their lawyers. Well, I mean, look, greed bloke. I'm allowed to, because it's literally if the Starlink is not in the correct position, I go bye-bye completely and entirely. But all right, so let's get stuck into this one. As I was saying before, in case it got cut out, because it does. Vegan Booty is a vegan activist who is also an OnlyFans star. And she and her partner basically got sued into oblivion for doing some stupid shit promoting vegan activism. And now she's made a sob story about, how they basically need money. So we're going to watch Isaac Butterfield's take on it. He is generally... I mean, he has no filter, so I do apologize in advance if any of it's overly crass, but let's just get stuck into it, shall we?
We are officially bankrupt.
That's right. And this came as a result for a defamation trial that we were unsuccessful in, and we now owe over $500,000 to a vet clinic.
What a shame.
How the mighty...
What a fucking shame. And you know that most of that... No, you know what? At least a third of that, maybe 2/3. A lot of that's going to be in legal bills, is all I'm saying. And I have no sympathy for the bitch whatsoever. In my own personal opinion, she's a cow. Which is kind of like given her whole shtick.
We have fallen, ladies and gentlemen, the great vegan booty, the most notorious vegan in the world. She's constantly being arrested and charged and kicked out of places and banned from places. If you don't know who she is, well, here's 4 seconds of footage to describe exactly who she is. It's all over for vegan booty.
That pretty much covers it. I mean, she first came to my attention when she basically stormed into a vegan restaurant in, I want to say, Perth. Might have been South Australia, not 100% sure on that. Can't remember off the top of my head. And basically, she got right up in the owner's face, and he banned her from the store. And she tried to take legal action, which I thought was hilarious, and it didn't end well for her.
Do you see? Her career is done. She's had to declare bankruptcy. She's out of money, unable to pay the money that she owes to people.
Wait. What the fuck was that still life? That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me. It's stuck on lovable father/lawyer. Thank you. It was Perth? Okay, so it was WA. Thank you.
Is successfully sued for, I think, $500,000. This is all happening because of her actions and the things that she has done in the name of stopping the greatest, I can't say this word so early in the video, but it rhymes with Holocaust. Animal Holocaust, you know what I'm saying, in history. She claims that it's just as bad as other Holocausts in history, and it all has to do with us.
This is a woman that would happily see humanity eradicated, and yet she's sitting there talking about I was going to say it myself, but stuff it, Holocaust. So, oh yeah, she's very much on OnlyFans. One of the big shticks that she did was walking down the CBD covered in fake blood in like probably some of the most expensive lingerie I'd seen, which I thought was fucking hilarious because clearly some poor bastard has dipped into his back pocket and paid for something off of her fucking OnlyFans wish list only to see it stained with fake blood, which I thought was hilarious. Yes, her parents are very, very proud.
Eating meat. We are bad people because we eat meat. And to that I say,
Bitch, you can take my steak out of my cold dead hands. Just saying.
Bankruptcy feel, babe? How does it feel? Okay, so let's find out exactly why she's in the position that she is in, other than the fact that she's painful. In September 2021, Vegan Booty, or Tash Peterson, however you want to know her, and her partner Jack Higgs, the most...
I don't want to know her at all. I'd be happy if she'd never crawled out from under the rock that she did with her wheatgrass shot, honestly.
Manliest man that's ever lived, the definition of masculinity, they stumbled across a veterinarian clinic in their home city of Perth where they saw two cockatiels, Bruce and Gandalf. Now, the problem with Bruce and Gandalf in this situation was they were housed. Get this. This is going to blow your mind. And for all the animal activists out there, this is going to freak you out.
I'm willing to bet that they were housed probably inside a well-maintained bird cage that may or may not have been inside the veterinary clinic. I'm guessing.
They were housed in a cage. I know. Birds in a cage.
Oh, God
Who
forbid.
would have thought? And obviously this sent Vegan Booty into a fucking spiral. They confronted the vet.
Oops, didn't mean to pause it then, sorry. But seriously, this is why we can't have nice things. Because entitled people get it in their heads that, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion matters more than anybody else, despite the fact that we don't have free speech here in Australia. So I'm going to go and slander people. And I'm allowed to say that because I know she lost the defamation case.
Dr. McIntosh, who's a great vet, good fucking on you, Doc, accusing her of enslaving the birds to build the pyramids or something. And then in another video posted online, questioned whether she eats her own patients. Now, whether or not Vegan Booty...
That has to have happened at least once, theoretically, doesn't it? I mean, surely at some point, at least once, a vet's put down a calf or something and the owner said, yeah, no, we don't want it. You just take it, and they've like carved it up or something. Surely that's happened. Just going to slow down just in case. No, it looks like they're okay. Oh, damn. That was a nasty wheel off the... their tire was completely off the wheel then. Yikes.
Booty has any evidence of her enslaving birds or eating her patients. I don't know. She never provided it. So I think that's a pretty outlandish thing to say. And it would affect a business if you say that they are enslaving the animals and eating them. I probably wouldn't take my dogs to a vet to get their teeth cleaned, knowing that if they did unfortunately pass away due to a problem with anesthetic, that the vet there would eat them. So unsurprisingly, the vet sued for defamation. And the Chief Justice, Peter Quinlan, found that the video was, in fact, defamatory that Vegan Booty posted.
Oh, for God's sakes, Diane, monetize that shit. If people are sending you hate mail like that, like leave the names and addresses out, but make fun of them. Read it out and make fun of them.
Stating it harmed the clinic and McIntosh's, the vet's, reputation, and the court awarded $280,000 of damages, and I imagine they had to pay the legal...
Called it. 280,000. So if it's over $500,000, what, 2/5 is worth legal fees because costs follow the cause. Bitch has to pay the plaintiff's legal costs in that case as well. That's hilarious. This is why you don't fuck around with like defamation, people. You just don't do it.
Legal fees as well. Dr. McIntosh, the vet, who's a great vet, by the way, you should go and see her, testified that the ordeal destroyed her mental health and contributed to her marriage breakdown.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's not great. So basically, so for the most part, in terms of personal injury to somebody, Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% sure that the thresholds are exactly the same if you're claiming the emotional distress for a tortious interference or for defamation. But, I mean, specifically off the top of my head, I know that there's thresholds that you have to get to if you're saying you've received emotional distress. And the fact that she's claiming that it caused the breakdown of her marriage as well, holy shitballs. And I want to know if this was a jury trial or if this was a judge alone trial.
That's fucked. Now, post this entire issue and the court case and being charged, or at least being found guilty of defamation, Jack and Vegan Booty, Tash Peterson, they posted this video. So let's, rather than just speculating and reading it in the media, let's hear it from the ethically sourced horse's mouth.
We are officially bankrupt and our passports are being taken away from us.
That's a shame. I wouldn't mind it if you fucked off for a bit. But anyway, that's just me. It's just me.
That's right. And this came as a result for a defamation trial that we were unsuccessful in, and we now owe over $500,000 to a vet.
Suck it. Also, has anyone seen the size of these Powerades? This is getting a bit out of hand. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that I can drink an entire liter of Mountain Blast Powerade in a trip, but I'm starting to think I might need to use this as a pee bottle later. Damn.
Vet clinic.
Yeah, because you were carrying like a bunch of fucking dicks. Trying to ruin someone's business, you twat. Someone who helps animals, no less.
And on top of that, our personal accounts have been wiped, which means we have no money for everyday living expenses.
I'm struggling to feel bad.
Oh my God, the garnishee order. That's fucking hilarious. Look at it this way, people. You lose a case here. One of the first thing that happens is that you wind up in front of a registrar for a summons for oral examination. You have to provide details of all your sources of income. The OnlyFans company just got served with a fucking garnishee order. Oh yeah, no. Any money she makes for like shaking her ass online automatically has to go to the veterinary clinic. That's funny. Now I am purely speculating on that. That is all just it's a potentiality in my head as to what has happened. But that's still fucking funny.
For you, like, listen, I've met Vegan Booty. She's a very nice person, and Jack, he's very nice as well. But when you do shit like this, like, it has to have consequences, right?
So,
the government wouldn't have taken away her passport. I actually would want to look into the details of that myself. I would expect it's because she's got ties overseas, and I dare say that it was an order made by the court at the request of the plaintiff that she not flee the country prior to satisfying her debt. Because, over $500,000 isn't anything to sneeze at. So
we're going to now head into a bankruptcy office and we're going to officially surrender our passports.
Yes, so our money can be taken from us and so can our passports, but our voices for non-human people will never be taken away from us, and we'll never stop speaking up for the victims of animal exploitation and the animal holocaust.
Well, you tell me how you're going to do that from the streets. Because Jenny ain't on the blog anymore. She's going to be on the streets. Drink a liter of Powerade. You might not make it make it home in time to pee. Look, that's possible. I don't know.
Holocaust. Adios, passports.
Well, it's good to see that she learned her lesson. Now, I will say this. It's important that we speak up for what we believe in. But when it harms people directly that have nothing to do with the problem, like, what are you doing? What are you achieving here? And so fucking what if the birds were in a cage? I from memory, I recall her saying something about the birds were being left out in the wind or the rain.
Oh, yeah, and look, Wardrobe, I was trying to find something to cover on that. For those of you that don't know, some poor bastard got doused in gasoline and set on fire because he made a joke, and one of his friends, as a feminist, took issue with it. I think it was Warren Smith put out a video on it. I didn't want to watch that one, so we'll save that for later on in the week. But damn, there's some crazy shit that goes on, I swear to God.
Rain or the sun or something. But then the vet said, no, that we bring him in all the time. They just like it out there. I don't know. I feel like it should be hard as a vegan to go and attack a vet who saves animals, who saves more animals than you as a vegan. Let me just say that. But this isn't the first time that Vegan Booty has really gone after a business. I mean, she went after Louis Vuitton and big businesses like that, but she really has taken to attacking small businesses like the Fire Restaurant.
And now he's going to talk about the case the case with the Fire Restaurant, the one that I was talking about. That's the one that put her on my radar. And honestly, she's just a dumbass in my own personal opinion. Like, I don't genuinely believe that she's doing this for the animals. She's doing this for the attention, in my own personal opinion. Like, I unless every cent she makes from OnlyFans is going to animal rescue. Exactly. All she's doing is being needy for attention, is my own personal opinion. And I'm being very fucking careful here.
Connolly in Perth in Western Australia.
Responsible for their murder if you're not vegan! Notorious animal rights protester Tash Peterson face to face with Fire owner John Mountain. You have blood on your hands! Psychopath! Pushing and shoving.
See, I'm not going to lie. In the same situation, I probably would have decked the bitch.
Screaming and shouting.
This was back in 2023. Owned by celebrity chef John Mountain, he announced a ban on vegans, citing mental health reasons, following a dispute with a vegan customer over limited plant-based options.
This is my train set, and if you don't want to play on it, off.
Tensions at boiling point after the UK celebrity chef controversially banned vegans from his restaurant following a customer complaint about the lack of vegan options.
So John said, no more vegans here. They carry on like fucking dickheads. And Tash Peterson.
Yeah, it's literally, hey, you don't like the service, you don't have to be here. You're not wanted here. We don't cater for you. And you're not required to. No one's required to cater to vegans.
Said, well, guess what, motherfucker? I'm going to turn up with all my skinny little friends, and we're gonna shout and scream out the front of your restaurant until we get tired and really run down and feel really, really sleepy. So they were there for about 15 minutes, but it was good. She did it. She really got the message out there by screaming at John's fucking customers. But it turns out that story isn't over either, with Vegan Booty posting this just the other day.
I've been forced into bankruptcy as a result of a defamation case where I was found to be unsuccessful, owing a vet clinic $320,000 in damages. And that...
I wonder why. I mean, it's almost as if actions have consequences, you know? You'd think she'd learn from other court cases and all that sort of stuff, but I think she thinks that because she's a pretty face that people will continue to buy her bathwater or whatever. That's just a joke. Speculation. I don't know. I know the roads are kind of rough at the moment. There we go.
That doesn't even include their legal costs, putting my debt to over $500,000.
Is she working on a current affair here? Why is she talking like this?
During the trial, I was forced to produce financial and bank statements because their lawyer was trying to claim that I did animal rights activism for financial gain. The judge denied.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're able to prove that claim in court or not. That is going to tarnish her reputation, in my personal opinion, anyway. Wow.
This claim.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but this is how Vegan Booty makes money, okay? She doesn't make it from, well, maybe she makes some AdSense from YouTube and some, some from Facebook as well. But she also does Bonely bans. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube or not, whether they've been suppressed. Anyway.
Yes, she does OnlyFans. Not that it's anything you want to pay for, in my own personal opinion. Not that I've actually looked, but do you really want to see that thing naked? Really?
Whatever. Bonely bands, where she takes nude photos of herself. Yeah, that's how she makes money. She sells these photos. I have actually seen them.
Oh, he has he? Sorry, I was going to say something, then that caught me off guard. Look, I'll be perfectly honest. I was going to say... No, honestly, Mr. K, in the past, where stories have resulted from individuals doing OnlyFans and that sort of thing, on occasion, with Lady Overlawd's permission, I have checked them out. I've never paid for anything, but you can actually gain a surprising amount of information without having to actually subscribe to any of these bitches. But more to the point, like, I try very hard not to kink shame anyone, but goddamn, I could not imagine being that fucking beta cuck of a bloke that she's with, knowing that she's out there selling her naked body on the internet. Like, either she's got magic lady bits or he is just a complete nut of pussy, honestly. Well, not only for research purposes, but I mean, if I use it for content, I get to write shit off as well.
I reviewed it about 3 years ago, and I made her $20,000 in one day. That's how fucking good I am. But anyway, I don't know if all of the money that she made from Bonely Bands went to animal help.
Arian, you're very, very welcome. Honestly, at some point, I need to. I just like putting out funny content. So if it's helped you in any way, shape, or form, you're incredibly welcome.
Assistance. I don't know if she gave like a $50 note to a koala, but she did say that
Whoa,
most
hang
of it,
on. Maybe not dropping memberships. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. I can't tell who got them, but if you got one, maybe send her a thanks, because that's freaking awesome. We love that.
was, at least it went towards saving the animals, saving the creatures. But if she made a lot of money from that, I doubt that all of it went there. Obviously, she had to live off it and such, but
No shit,
I don't know. I'd like to see the receipts. And I think Vegan Booty's in a very interesting position here where she has probably been audited and she has all that information there. Make it all public, love. Let everybody know. Why not? What's standing in your way to really clear your name and make it all public and let people know what you're actually doing with that cash?
There's no fucking way in hell she's going to do that. Are you kidding me? Porn tax, pretty much. Oh, no, honestly, cut to the chase. The number of things that you can write off as a tax deduction, provided you use it in the course of making content, is astounding. Like, I have to pay outright for every one of my Gundam models, but there's a reason that I build at least part of them on stream. Because I can then write them off against the income that comes in from YouTube. I love it. But no, there's no way in hell she's going to provide all the details of her own personal accounts. Are you kidding me? Like, that's just it. Her bitching about the fact that she's got to pay $500,000. If she was even remotely half decent at OnlyFans, that might be a couple of months, maybe a year's worth of income. But I don't know. It's probably because I'm assuming the content isn't that great. How much you want to bet there's a bunch of products she uses that aren't vegan? Oh, I guarantee it. You honestly think that she uses vegan soap and vegan? She would not have the skin that she does if she used only vegan products, okay? So, don't worry, Kerry. I drive very safe. You don't have to stress about that.
The opposing lawyer also accused me of tax fraud, a serious allegation which again the judge found to be untrue.
There was rumors, and it was in the newspapers, and I commented on it that she said she only made, let's just guess a number, and I'm guessing here, $80,000, when in reality she might have made $300,000 or $400,000. I don't know if that is obviously not the right numbers, but that was the assumption made in the media, and I guess they were wrong about that. I don't know. Once again, if we saw the receipts, it would be helpful.
This accusation led.
So what's worse, being called out for lying about how much money you make showing your body online, or the fact that you only made a small amount of money showing your body online? Oh, suck it, bitch. And that's what she says when she's sitting there with her dildo up his ass. Oh, I shouldn't have went down there. Oh, well, never mind. It's my own personal opinion anyway.
To the Australian Tax Office auditing me for over 2 years' worth of income, and this lawyer is now being investigated by the WA Legal Board.
Interesting.
But it isn't over
I'm sorry,
yet.
what?
There is yet another defamation case against me. A restaurant who banned all vegans from their venue is suing me. I may be bankrupt, but I'm not broken, and I'm certainly not going to stop speaking up for the victims of the animal holocaust.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your walk there. Yeah, okay. So I don't know what they're going to sue her for. She doesn't have any money left, and I imagine she doesn't have any assets.
Yeah, that's the problem about it. She's already going to be declaring bankruptcy, so she's effectively judgment-proof for the next 7 years. If I was the guy running fire, I'd sit on it. Like, I would hope that what I would do is I would file the claim, but I wouldn't necessarily pursue it for a while. Because, I mean, you can file a writ, and it doesn't have to be served for a year. Because what he needs to do is make sure that whatever claim he has isn't outside the statute of limitations. Because her bankruptcy can last... I mean, bankruptcy can last... It does vary based on what assets you've got and whether or not the trustee can sort out your affairs. But, no, you know what? He should still sue her, because even if she ever actually comes out of bankruptcy, I would still be trying to attach a garnishee order anyway.
Asset. She probably still lives at home. But yeah, that is the update with the great and powerful vegan booty, friend of the channel and possible secret admirer of mine. And I know that some people will be saying, hey, this is free speech. She should be able to say whatever she wants. And I agree. She should absolutely be able to say whatever she wants. But when that impedes on someone's ability to make money, particularly when it's based on mistruths or outright lies, whichever she may have used, and I will assume based on the court's findings that they happen to be lies, when someone loses money over that, or it impedes their ability to make money, that is by and large the definition of defamation, and that's what's happened here. I think you should be able to joke about anything, and you should definitely stand up for what you believe in, but you can't just say that Jono from Freddy's Bar and Grill loves locking women up in the basement when there's no evidence that Jono from Freddy's Bar... I don't know if Freddy's Bar and Grill is an actual place. I'm sorry if it is. I'm not talking about your restaurant. This is a hypothetical restaurant in my mind. Freddy's Bar and Grill does not have women locked up in the basement. In fact, it's just got beautiful ribs. I hope they're not human ribs. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point being...
Oh, no. Freddy's Bar and Grill's eating the deceased. Oh, no. See, that's the difference, though. Cut to the chase. Fines are different to court orders. You can be effectively judgment proof if you are bankrupt, if you've already declared bankruptcy. There are certain things that do and don't fall away, and if it is a fine that is issued by a statutory authority or a statutory body, that one sticks around irrespective. If it's a award of damages, depending on the structure, no, that one can fall away, unfortunately, and sometimes it's just not worth pursuing. I've actually had to tell people before, look, it's not worth pursuing this in court because they are judgment proof. You're not going to see your money. And they've still gone through it because, on principle, which more power to them. I'm more than happy for you to do that.
You can't just say shit, right? So what is next for Tash Peterson, vegan booty, the most notorious vegan in the entire world? Well, apparently, according to this clip, that she's woken up. She's a feminist. She's not fatphobic, and she makes money off OnlyFans, and she's vegan. Life is good when you don't exploit animals. Okay, let's see what happens from here. There always seems to be a new update on the story, and people say, Isaac, why do you make so many vegan booty videos? I'll tell you why, because there's new fucking stories every week.
Yeah, because there's new stories every week, but it's also because it's a fucking shit show that's entertaining and comedic.
This is the story of a century. It just keeps giving. This is bigger than Watergate. Forget weapons of mass destruction not being there. Vegan booty's daily life is...
Because she literally has no weapons of mass destruction. She doesn't even have a weapon of ass destruction.
Is what I want to find out about it. In fact, I think they should do and run like a not Desperate Housewives, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They should do one about vegan booty and call it, I don't know, what would you call it? The vegan, the real painful fucking vegan lady that lives in Western Australia. And God help us, I hope that she finds a nice island in the middle of the ocean and just fucking stays there. Good
she
grief.
Can't go. She doesn't have a passport.
Stop being a fuckwit. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. I'm on tour right now. Also, America, we have dates about to be announced.
Yeah,
You
I
lost
don't
that
actually.
case.
I don't actually remember what she was picketing Bunnings about. I think it enabling people to have chooks at home, and at one point she was going off about the sausage sizzle. So,
But my understanding is things have actually gotten even worse, and he's really going for you now, Roxy Tickle.
Yeah. So as I said, we are appealing.
oh, okay. See, I completely forgot what order I prefaced these videos in. Now, for those of you that don't remember, a little while ago, I covered the case of Tickle v. Giggle, where basically Roxy Giggle is a individual who identifies as a woman and signed up for a female-only app. They wound up going to court, and things went a little bit sideways for both parties, really. So, apparently there's been a little bit of an update and development in the case. So, this is Sam Glover doing an interview and an update in relation to the case of Tickle v. Giggle.
But so is he.
Oh my god.
So he's cross appealing. He is appealing the decision he won. So the decision was indirect gender identity discrimination. So which is actually a decision that actually benefits trans activists in the sense that basically you don't even have to know that somebody has a gender identity to be discriminating against them and breaking the law. So that's what I was done for. I didn't know he had a gender identity, nor do I care. Tickle wants it upgraded to direct discrimination. He also wants damages upgraded from, he was awarded $10,000, and we can get into why. It's quite a funny story. He wants it upgraded from $10,000 to at least $30,000, and he wants aggravated damages of at least $10,000. It feels personal.
Vengeful.
Like I'm in a rights.
I wonder why it feels personal. He sued you. Oh, sorry. They sued you, and I've got to be very careful here because Tickle's very litigious, is my understanding. They sued you because you said that they weren't a woman. I mean, there might be a little bit of penis envy there. Just saying.
Fight. I want my rights, and I want the rights of all women and girls. And I also actually want the rights of men to be able to say, like, this affects everyone. Men should also be able to say, nope, that's man. Simple as that. Men should also be able to have male-only spaces for recreation, privacy, and dignity. I have no problem with that. But so I don't feel like he is in a rights fight. I feel this is a personal to me.
Or a money grab.
Yeah.
I mean, 30,000 is not nothing, is it?
No, without a doubt. And I mean, we're also the next sort of fight that we'll have an interlocutory hearing on the 7th of April. He's also going after me for costs. So our argument is this is public interest litigation. Everyone covers their own costs. His side is saying, no, Sal can pay for his costs. There's like $400,000 from round one. There's basically that we want $1 million.
From you?
From me. Yeah.
$400,000 in the hole to win 10 grand. I wonder why he's cross appealing. Okay, dude, that'd be great if you actually stayed in your own fucking lane. That gave me a jump scare.
Is he going to get that?
Let's hope not. We're going to fight it out in court. But at first instance, I mean, he sort of cost capping application on the basis that he was impecunious, that he had pro bono lawyers, that this was public interest. And then to sort of shift the goalposts once they've realised now that Sal's successfully fundraising is quite extraordinary. So that is a courtroom battle that we will be having.
Yeah, basically bankrupt me because I know that a man isn't a woman.
How does that work? If you don't have $1 million or whatever,
Yeah,
how does it work if you're sued for £1 million or dollars or whatever?
You go bankrupt.
That's what he seems to want. Were you surprised, Catherine, when he won the first time?
Not really. We had the hearing, and it was quite a challenging 3.5 days. And sitting in the courtroom, there were moments where you got the feeling, like with the way the judge's demeanour was, with respect to how the matter was being run. And then also, the way the AHRC got up, and our arguments were.
Should just interrupt there and just say AHRC is the Australian Human Rights Commission, who, in my opinion, didn't really need to intervene in this case, frankly, because, I mean, I'm of the personal opinion that I don't believe that anyone's human rights were infringed upon here. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're a business, you should be allowed to exclude whoever the fuck you want on whatever basis you want. I don't care in terms of businesses. Like, I genuinely do not believe that there should be any sort of recourse for discrimination in business, because everyone has the right to refuse service.
Was somewhat truncated. They really wanted to wrap it up, and we wanted more time. The other side were also, trying to formulate their arguments, and the judge was very considerate of that. And then we had moments where that sort of wasn't hostile, very, very hostile. The judge was yelling at my barrister. It was very uncomfortable.
Who's representing Roxy Tickle? Is it like a llama or something?
So he has a barrister and solicitors, like I do. But the Australian Human Rights Commission intervened in Tickle v Giggle as amicus curiae, which they have a statutory right to do. It's not uncommon that they would intervene to basically be there to interpret the law, help the judge. The problem is that the Australian Human Rights Commission is completely captured. Like, this institution is not fit for purpose. Like, I'm all for having human rights commissions. I think that they can be a really good thing. This is an ideological commission at this point. They're all in on gender identity. They have been since day one, since when I first got the complaint. I was like, these people are not considering that I also have human rights. And so they're the ones that are doing the song and dance in the courtroom, going, it's been like 2 hours trying to define gender identity, and they couldn't. They got it to a thought, was basically the best they could come up with.
Have we got to the point where it's the first time I'm even considering this, that human rights might not be a good thing? Obviously, rights are good for lots of people, but the way that they can be hijacked and ideologically captured.
Well, the problem, though, is that everyone harps on about human rights, about what individual human right they should have, but we don't even have basic rights here. Why are they so focused on gender identity rights when we don't even have a right to fucking free speech? We don't have a right to have a roof over our head. We don't have a right to, why are they so intent on focusing on these issues when they goddamn do nothing to advance society as a whole? If someone wants to chop their dick off and they're over the age of 18, good fucking go on, let them. Doesn't mean that everyone else has to entertain it. That's the problem. Your rights don't extend into my personal boundaries. Your rights stop where mine start.
I'm thinking not only of this whole trans situation, which has just captured all of these like lunatics at the very top of the world right now, but Israel, the UN, Israel's had more resolutions against it than every country in the world combined. And whether you like or dislike Israel, North Korea should have a few of those, shouldn't they? And Saudi Arabia and Syria. So there's obviously, these are just ideologues now. So do you think, human rights, have we gotten human rights wrong, maybe?
Well, with respect to Sal's matter, where there is a big problem. So as I said, the SCA relies on CEDAW, but His Honour also decided to rely on the ICCPR, which is the International Civil and Political Rights Convention. And in that, in Article 26, it's got, you cannot be discriminated against on the basis of, categories like race, religion, national origin, those kinds of things, but also other status. And as we are learning, words, the meaning of words in law is really, really important. And those other categories are discernible, they are objective, they are definable. Whereas when you have other status, other examples are, say, migrant worker. You know, that is objectively definable. But what His Honour did was he slotted in gender identity into that sort of other status. But as you'll see, like with the definition in the SDA, it is completely nebulous. It's based on things like name, mannerisms, dress, which can just change from day to day, moment to moment, and they're not necessarily.
Well, that's just it. I mean, that's basically, I mean, to take it to an absurd level, it's like saying, oh, I can be discriminated against because of what I decide to have for dinner. Like,
I mean, what's a female mannerism or a male mannerism? And why should someone who's adhering to stereotypes within that have more rights than, say, the rights that are granted on the basis of biological sex? So it's when these sort of conventions get sort of somewhat perverted and just broadened and expanded beyond what the original drafters conceived them to be, that's when we start to get into trouble.
Yeah, it's that, and what you just explained sounds so conservative, ultra conservative. Like if you dress a certain way, that's a woman thing. I've asked so many of these people, what is it to be a woman? For a man to say he's a woman, and some people said, well, it's how they walk, and it's like, what is this?
or, you know, Clementine Ford on Piers Morgan the other day saying that a woman is any human being that's ever felt fear from a man. Like, that was funny, watching the guy from the Whatever podcast jump down her throat about that. Like, so any bloke that's ever been afraid of another bloke is now a woman.
This woman walk.
When I was being cross-examined during the hearing, the side barrister was asking me questions, and she said something to the effect of, you know, if you know, Miss Tickle shops in the women's department, doesn't she? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know this person.
Well, so do I. If I get my wife a T-shirt or something. Not that I've ever done that because I'd get it wrong. Not for shoes. Bloody hell. I mean, this is the thing, and people who haven't followed the case won't, and it shouldn't matter actually, because I know some people on our sort of side, they'll show pictures of how ridiculous looking some of these guys who think they're women are. But the problem for me with that is, well, then when they do look right, does that mean that they are women and they're not? So, and it's mean as well. We don't need to go about look. But that being said, he's very blokey. This is a big bloke playing lacrosse or whatever it is, hockey, running around with a stick. This is bonkers. Has he been getting in touch with you at all?
Well, so when Tickle ever first became someone in my life, is the only user of Giggle to have ever called and texted my phone. Literally no one else ever has. And this happened at the end of 2021. I remember the day that I...
So for those of you that are unaware of the case, basically what happened was Grover, the woman they're giving the interview, she set up a female-only app. And part of the way that they made sure that it was a female-only app is that you would have to upload an image of yourself. And either AI would decide whether you were male or female, or then I believe at some point there's a manual review process in place or whatever else. But basically, Tickle uploaded a photo and got rejected for being too masculine. And then sued for discrimination. So that's kind of how this all panned out and how this started.
I can't remember which order it was. I didn't keep it or anything, because it was something to the effect of like, my name's Roxy Tickle or something. You must have said his name because it's a name you remember. I feel like that's when I was introduced to the name. You know, I've removed from the app, and because I had his phone number, I could just type it into the Giggle server, and that's because that was the only anchor we had for users. And I just saw a picture of a man, and I called my dad and said that this guy that we have blocked off Giggle has called and texted my phone. And Dad said, block his number, don't tell your mother, because my mum sees the attacks that we all get, that women around the world get. And so, and then I just, you know, when something really creepy has happened and you just block it out of your mind.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And then I got the AHRC complaint a few months later. But actually, I don't really talk about this that much, but it's something that actually does bother me. For the last 3 years, like, so he's blocked, obviously, up on my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he is constantly watching. And even minutes after I post something, even reply, he has screenshot it and then is mocking me. And he does it to Kath too.
Wow.
Constantly. Oh, it's stopped a little bit now. I feel like someone's actually said something to him, but it has stopped.
Yeah, see, that's a little bit creepy and obsessive to me. And also, if he's got attorneys that are acting on his behalf, they should have already said something to them about that.
In the last little bit, he hasn't been doing it as much. But for the 2 years of the Tickle v Giggle case, he was mocking me all the time. And I was like, this is why women want a woman-only internet space. So you are proving my point. I want to get away from.
To be fair, though, ladies, if you want your women-only space, I fully expect to get my male cigar bar back. Just saying. You talk to your people, we'll talk to ours, is all I'm saying.
From you. I don't know you. I don't like that you're doing this. I've blocked you. I've done everything I can. I'd like to get away from you. But I'm the one in court. I'm told that I'm harassing him.
And in court, are you sort of near?
That's the first time I've ever been in a room with him. But I've literally never spoken to this man.
Do you just hate him when you're seeing him there?
I feel nothing towards him. Nothing. Like when this is all done, I will never think about him again, ever. I cannot wait. I will never mention his name again. I will never think. I will move on with my life. I will run a woman-only app. I will provide for my daughter, and probably my women's advocacy will probably be for women in Afghanistan once we finish this. But this is clean this house first, then we'll go and deal with all of the other stuff. But yeah, I will never ever think about him again. I feel nothing towards him.
And will this be able to clear itself up? Will we move on? What are some of the things? Because you were both telling me there have been some recent things that are just bonkers that are going on at the moment with this case.
So we've got the cross appeal, then there's the money, and then, gosh, what else is happening?
So yeah, we've also got parties seeking to intervene. So interestingly, we have the Australian Christian Lobby. So they've put that.
Oh, I completely forgot that was happening. Yeah. You know what? No, I'll let them talk about it.
They wish to speak for women of faith, and it's not just Christian women, but also they mention Muslim and Jewish women. And then we also have the Lesbian Action Group.
So have you heard about what happened with the Lesbian Action Group in Australia?
No.
So they are a group. They sort of do events and things for lesbians based in Melbourne. They applied to the Australian Human Rights Commission to see if they could have an exemption to have female-only lesbian events like there's any other kind.
Let that sink in. A lesbian group had to apply for permission to have female-only events. I'm sorry, but if there's one place in the world where there should not be a cock and balls, it's at a lesbian event.
And the Australian Human Rights Commission said no. So they appealed that decision, and the tribunal recently just came back and said no.
Oh, so you just cannot now just have lesbian women's.
Well, they have to go underground. Back in the closet. Yeah. So basically, and then you've got the premier of the state in Victoria, Jacinta Allen, going just recently, she's like, there should be no discrimination to LGBTQI alphabet plus people. And it's like, but the first letter in that, you're discriminating against them, and you're doing it on the basis of sex, because this is the problem with gender identity in law, is that the moment that you're giving these privileges to men on the basis of gender identity, you are discriminating against women on the basis of sex. So it's not that there's less discrimination, there's more, and they've chosen their poison. They're siding with men.
There are people that'll look at this and say, Lewis, in our country, we believe in rehabilitating people.
Okay. So from one heavy topic to another. Now, look, my personal opinion on that whole thing is that I do not believe that it should have made it as far as it did in the court case. In Tickle v Giggle, my own personal opinion is that, maybe she could have considered settling it. Maybe she could have considered basically just getting him to go away. I'm not 100% sure that would have happened anyway. But as far as I'm concerned, there absolutely should be safe spaces for everybody. There should be men's only areas. There should be women's only areas. There should absolutely be lesbian only areas. There should absolutely be gay only areas. There should absolutely... Yes, the world is losing its mind, honestly. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't previewed this. I don't know much about the details sent to me on X. Now, my understanding is that it's about a PDF file here in Australia, and someone asked if I would be able to give it a watch and respond to some sort of question that's involved in it. So, yes, they brought lesbians and Christians together. Like, I mean, to be fair, you know, the Yazidis brought the Americans and the Russians together. So, I mean, crazier things have happened, I guess. All right, let's see whether or not I get myself yeeted off YouTube for this one.
People. We don't want to just have punitive punishments that grind them down. We want people to come back to society as productive members and really show that they've changed. He goes to Thailand with a fucking burner cell phone and no credit card. What's a pedophile doing in Thailand with a burner cell phone and no credit card? He's not changing. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of I Can't Believe I'm Still LARPing as Chris Hansen. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. I made 3 asks. Unban the customers that you banned improperly, refund people that you screwed over, stop screwing with my YouTube channel. And as I hear from many people emailing me, some of my videos can't be viewed in the country of Australia. They've been banned on defamation claims. This is something that is getting very annoying at this point. Again, you're not sticking.
This now may be problematic, and I may be concerned. I'm sitting here legitimately making a judgment call because he just said that he's already had stuff taken down for defamation here in Australia. No, you know what? I will make a clean and clear, crystal clear statement. I am in no way endorsing anything that is said during this video. I am purely reacting to it. It is purely for news and commentary purposes. I do not intend any defamatory statements, and nor should anything on my behalf be taken such. So you're telling me to skip it? But I kind of feel like I'd be being a pussy if I did. Yeah, all right. I'll preview it myself and then I'll come back to it.
Well, Dale bought her little slice of country paradise 17 years ago, but then the government sold her driveway, leaving her with no way in or out. She's had to rely on the good graces of her neighbour, but that's about to stop.
Yeah, this is pretty fucking messed up. Now, the reason I'm watching this, and for those of you that don't know, I can't remember if this is a current affair or 60 Minutes, but, you know, you guys over in America have got a show very similar to this. I think you've even got a version of 60 Minutes that we sort of imported and changed. But we do these sort of, we've got this show that plays every night that do these sort of like puff pieces and whatever else and all that sort of shit. It's a current affair. Thank you for letting me know. The reason I was interested in this is this actually has a whole heap of property law implications. Now, given this is one of the major media channels here in Australia, if the stream goes down, I'm trusting you guys to tell me because I won't know. Okay?
Hold on now, just get the lid up here.
Bloody hell.
Yep. buckle up for an off-road adventure.
Right.
Have you got a sick bag anywhere?
No,
Perfect.
I just need new socks.
You'll feel crook too when you find out what's happened to this family. This road isn't just a joyride, it's a lifeline. Right now, it's the only way home, but they're not allowed to use it. It sounds like they're just hoping you throw your hands in the air and disappear.
Yes, they are. Yes, and it's not happening.
17 years ago, Dale and Micah bought this isolated patch of paradise 3 hours northwest of Sydney. Back then, there were two legal ways they could access their home, a road from the north and a road from the south. But now, in an unbelievable turn of events, there are none. This mum and son have been marooned.
Literally, one of the roads basically is on property that belongs to somebody who's recently sold the property, and they're no longer giving them right of access. The other one is a council road that the council is refusing to allow them to use because they won't maintain it.
Welcome to Tarrana, where a wave and a smile come for free, unless you're in their shoes. You see, out here, horse and cart once ruled the plains. The government owned most of the land, and over time it's been sold off. But according to council, scores of Crown or New South Wales government land strips remain.
They've had it? You're right.
And that's where this gets rocky. Hi, what if it had been raining? What is this like?
Oh, well, then you can't get in down the bottom there. And if you do, this is really, really slippery.
But if you're home, what do? You just...
Well, we don't go out.
To get to Dale and Micah's home, we have to rely on the good graces of a neighbour to take a trusty Prado through a private cow paddock. So what do you do if you want to get your groceries or get the mail?
Again, you've got to walk kilometres and you have to walk kilometres back often in the rain.
They've long taken this route, but that neighbour has told the authorities it has to stop.
It's not right that I go through their land. They've been very kind and patient letting me. It's not fair.
The problem? There's nowhere else to turn.
We didn't know where the future is. A bit like now, we still don't know where the future is lying with all this. It's sort of like a parcel to parcel, and it's reached to the music stopped, and now they've said, well, no solution.
Up until 2015, we could have driven up an unformed dirt driveway owned by the New South Wales government. It's the legal route on the DA approval, the North Road. But the Crown sold it off to another neighbour. Dale says she wasn't consulted.
Couldn't.
Oh shit! I was thinking of a different one. That's right. No, they sold the area of the land to another landowner, and the landowner's not letting them use what was the road to get to their property. That's right. I was thinking of another one where there's a family that's cut off because they won't maintain the road itself, and the secondary one is a ease of access through someone's property, but it was sold. This has happened twice now. Interesting.
Believe it. I could not believe that they'd put all the fences across.
That left them with the South Road. It barely exists. More an obstacle course that'd make Evel Knievel balk. And wait for it, it's also owned by the government.
People dispute it because they say it's only a paper road, but legally, yes, that is our driveway. But if you put a bulldozer down it and slashed it in a bulldozer, within a very short time you'd have a road.
So, oh no, I was wrong. This is the one that I was thinking of.
So this is it. A road so rough it turns a carton of milk into a milkshake for free. A road they're not meant to be on, and a road they soon won't be able to legally use. Council's revealed the problems don't stop there.
The ambulance services have advised they are unable to access the property and for this access issue to be resolved immediately as it's a matter of urgency.
In fact, the Ambos called the SES the last time they came.
I was so scared that day.
Jesus Christ. So that's the State Emergency Service. They're the guys that help clean up after massive storms or all that sort of stuff. Like, think FEMA, but they actually know what they're doing.
So scared.
Micah, who lives with his mum Dale, is vision impaired. The 32-year-old's had 2 strokes and has regular blackouts. Dale is his carer, but the 67-year-old's also in the wars. Her mobility's failing.
And then when Micah got really sick, the ambulance couldn't find a place and they got lost. And I had to go look for them, and he was unconscious. I couldn't get him in the car.
The fight for a driveway's been going for...
A permanent easement probably have been. From the sounds of it, Grifter, they never should have actually sold off the strip of land anyway. I'd say that what's happened is that the neighbour that was adjacent to it has more than likely been approached by the government because they didn't want to have it on the books, which does happen on occasions. Hang on. Wait until you hear about what's actually going on with the South Road as well and why they won't maintain it.
17 years. But even though the government caused the problem, it won't fix it. Now it's an emergency because Micah and Dale are about to be boxed in. So you said to Crown, you've sold our driveway,
yes,
fix the other one.
Yes.
What did they say?
They don't do roads.
Dale's even asked for approval to construct the road herself.
Yes, I tried to do that. We had the bulldozer come in, but no, it was a hard no.
Better yet, the minister's intervened and told Lithgow Council to fix it. How much is this going to cost?
Council feel $250,000.
$250,000.
Yes.
And if it takes this road on, it'll set a precedent for all other government roads that run through properties out here. Have you thought about buying a helicopter?
Yeah, or a flying fox, I thought at one stage. Maybe they would fly me down.
Sounds like your only option.
Yeah.
There is another option, and it's one it seems the government and the neighbours are all hoping for. Sell up and leave. Who's going to buy a house that doesn't have a driveway?
Exactly right.
No one.
So you really are stranded.
Stranded, yep. Like on Gilligan's Island.
With the cost of a legal fight out of reach, Dale and Micah say they'll rely on the kindness of strangers for as long as they can and hope that common sense prevails.
Hey, Jude.
Or someone in the government can pull a rabbit, or even better, a grater, out of a hat.
It's not right. It's un-Australian.
Please get out here and solve the problem.
Madness, right? And let's be clear, this is the state government's fault. It sold the land. But the New South Wales Planning Minister, Stephen Camper, says he'll make council fix it. Now, we'll put the boot into council when it's deserved, but in this case, it's inherited a mess. And everyone seems to have forgotten poor Dale and Micah. They may as well be invisible. So show some leadership and fix it.
Well, it's either that, Mr. K, or they saw that it was available. They purchased it up, knowing full well what it would cause. Because what they haven't specified is how large the property that Dale and her son are sitting on. I mean, if it's a few hundred to 1,000 acres or whatever else like that, you take away the ability to access that property via road, property value is going to plummet per acre. So, honestly, it's quite ridiculous.
This is yours. Okay. Relevant legislation which I've issued.
Right, so next up we have Billboard Chris. I haven't actually watched this yet. I'd been meaning to catch up on this for a while. Pretty sure there's a Billboard Chris. Really hope it is. But he was standing around with his billboard outside, which city was it? Anyway, local council member comes up to him and tells him to move on, then issues him a fine. Some bullshit.
This is yours. Okay. Relevant legislation which I've issued the ticket. Obstructing or unreasonably disturb any person lawfully using a mall. Okay, so I've been told that my prohibited activity is that I'm obstructing or unreasonably disturbing any person lawfully using a mall. I have absolutely done no such thing. I was standing quietly.
You should get a fucking job and, move on with your life,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Example of
I
things
have
that
not
obstruct
done this.
users of the mall. This is because you're in this area.
So this guy that just came up to harass.
I was going to say, the guy from the council's issuing a fine because somebody came up to him who disagrees with his opinion. This is what I keep saying to you people. This is why Australia needs free speech. This is why because it is being used and abused. Because God forbid someone have an opinion that disagrees with the accepted narrative.
He's using that as an example of me obstructing people.
The next step from here
Yeah.
is that we can issue an oral compliance direction, which under our local laws means that you have to cease the activity and possibly move on from the area. All right?
I'm not obstructing or unreasonably disturbing anyone.
So once I move on with the oral compliance direction, this is what it looks like. All right, I'm going to step through it because it's the first time for me as well.
First time.
Oh, no
Really?
shit.
Very new.
No one's ever had a sign on this public street before, I guess.
I have actually, but
And how come
most
you didn't
people don't
interrupt
go
them?
this one.
How
Most
come you
people don't go
didn't?
this one.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, did we witness that just now, officer? That man came up to me to harass me. He's citing that as an example of me obstructing someone. Did that look like obstruction to you when that man came up to harass me?
All right. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, as an authorised person, under the Council Land and Public Land and Council Assets Local Law 2014, Section 59, I am now officially requesting you to stop what you are doing and leave the area for a period of 24 hours. All right. Failure to comply with that now may involve the police. All right. And they are authorised, assisting us as authorised officers under the City of Brisbane Act 2010 to remove you from the area.
All right.
All right.
Well, I have not obstructed anyone. So
at this point,
this is
I'm requesting you to cease
a
and
fault.
move on from the area.
Well, I haven't obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand quietly by myself having conversations. And last I checked, we were still allowed to have conversations, even about an issue that some people might consider to be controversial.
All right, so we've completed the oral compliance direction. I've requested Chris to leave the area. It's up to him now if he complies.
Okay, so are you going to leave the area?
I'm not leaving.
So
You're under
as
arrest.
you've been directed, I'm actually Sergeant Jill Shandler from Brisbane City Police Station, so you've been directed that you need to leave, stop doing what you're doing because you're currently obstructing the mall area, which has its laws that do not permit this activity. Okay, so we would now require you to leave the area. Okay? Are you going to
Okay.
leave the area?
So I've read the law, and I'm being told that I was obstructing people from their movement, which is not true. And I'm not disturbing anyone. I stand quietly, having conversations with people who approach me. And so I don't
All right,
believe
so
I'm in
it's been
violation of
determined
that.
You are obstructing people, okay? So at this
How am I obstructing people?
it's been explained to you, okay?
Oh, that
So
was a lie, but
do you
yeah.
want to grab your things and leave?
No, I'm not leaving.
Okay.
So we
All
now
right,
have
so
the power.
to arrest you.
Okay.
So we would much rather just move you on from
Yeah.
here and not have to arrest you.
Yeah.
Just the mall area where these laws prevail, you just need to leave this area.
You are welcome to continue their activity outside the mall's area.
I totally disagree that I've obstructed or disturbed anyone. I stand here peacefully having conversations. So, you know what? I'm a man of principle, and I'd be violating my principles if I were to move right now. I appreciate that you have a difficult job. I'm a great fan of police, but I'm also a man of principle, and I'm not going to move.
Oh no, nothing about this makes sense. I can tell you right now, someone called and complained, and basically the council sent someone out because they don't want to deal with shit. Is what this really boils down to. God, it's so disgusting. Oh, my fifis are hurt because somebody has a different opinion than I do. Arrest them. Make them leave my site. Send them away, officer. Send them away. Have a cup of concrete and harden the fuck up, you prick.
you don't comply with that, then you will be obstructing us.
I was up in Queensland, Diane. Brisbane City Council.
At that point, we're going to have to remove you. We don't want to get to that point as well. We're trying, by all means, is to give you a chance of move on your own.
So we have the power to assist a official council worker.
Mhm.
So that's where our power comes into it now. We'd like to just move you on peacefully, okay? But if you're not complying with him, then we have to, within reason, move you on from the area.
Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not taking a shot at the officers here, by the way. Because that, in my personal opinion, that prick of a council worker has tied their hands. Once he gives the lawful direction and directs them to, they basically have to follow through with it, what he says. And either Chris moves on or he gets arrested. It's not even that they have any discretion. That's why one of them basically said to him, just go and stand outside the mall and we can leave. Honestly, some people have nothing better to do with their lives. When the Girl Scouts set up tables, are they obstructing? Yeah, but I'm willing to bet the Girl Scouts don't get complained about. Because Girl Scouts don't offend people's fees. Oh, well, actually, they might do now.
That he's asked you to leave, okay? If you're not, then you'd be charged with obstruction. It's just, I don't know why you would take that route over just leaving.
So you're going to criminally charge me?
Yes, but I'm telling you now, that no one wants to under these circumstances, whether we're
And so what happened?
against your cause.
And so what happened?
Should be clear. It's a mall, but it's a public space. They're just calling it a mall. It's not a privately owned or what are they called? It's not private property.
What happens after that?
What do you mean? What happens after that?
I get arrested.
Yep. Yeah.
I get criminally charged.
Basically, would have to remove you from here. And no, you have to. Like, I know that you've got your cause and you want to make a scene and you want to.
No, I don't want to make a scene.
Well,
Which is why I stood out of the way over by that pole.
Area which has these.
It's a public street.
This is a mall area that has its own bylaws that everybody has to comply with. Okay?
Yeah, and the issue is,
and that is such bullshit as well. This is why local council just needs to be abolished. There is not a single goddamn thing that a local council does that cannot be handled by the state government. Okay? Let's see. What do local council do? They issue rates notices so that we pay tax on our properties. They arrange for private companies to be engaged to collect our trash. And they pay basically they pay for local rangers and stuff for when dogs get out and that sort of thing. Aside from that, pretty much every other aspect of whatever else that local government do, planning permits, building permits, government bureaucracy, could all just be done at a state level. All local governments are homeowners associations on steroids. That's all they are, and they need to be abolished.
We don't have any issue with you going literally, out of the 100, 200 metres in any direction, and you're all good. It's just in the Queen Street Mall area, they have legislation which prevents this from occurring.
No, they don't have legislation. They have local council bylaws, which are given force by enacting legislation. Don't try and make it sound like it's been passed and voted and all that sort of shit, because it hasn't. It's local council bylaws that are written up and are just published.
and the legislation states that I've been, the claim here is that I've been obstructing people.
We've had multiple people come up and complain to us about your sign. Okay?
Well, that's not what the legislation is about.
I understand.
It's not about complaining about a sign.
But
it's about obstructing people.
To you why you've been given that.
So if I had a sign that said Australia is a magnificent country and that offended somebody, would then I also be in violation of that law?
I'm not going to play silly buggers with you. You've been told.
So it's only because of this message that I'm being arrested here.
How do you know?
Because all sorts of people have been here with signs and he's never had to deal with this.
Against that sign, you have no idea. He's doing his job. We're doing our job. It's got nothing to do with what you're doing.
I wasn't obstructing anyone.
He's already explained this to you.
I was here earlier when police were here, and I was stood over by the pole minding my own business. He then came up and lied and said I was obstructing people.
Subsequent to that, we have received complaints. There has been obstruction. People have approached. You've seen yourself the amount of people who've been stopped around here, which is causing an
That's
obstruction.
not because of me standing here. That's because of the scene you guys have created.
Sergeant has to say. Just give it the
That is because of the obstruction that you are creating. Now, do you have any idea?
I did not create an obstruction, and I'm going to stand by my principle.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So what happens? I get arrested. I get criminally charged with.
Give you a formal move on direction.
So I get criminally charged with what? What's the actual charge?
So,
she's
Failure
going
to
to
comply
give
with
you
the move on order.
direction,
Mhm.
okay, which will be for the mall. If you don't comply with that move on direction, then you'll be charged with contravening that direction. Okay, so that will be the charge.
Is that a criminal charge?
What do you mean by a criminal charge?
Does this carry a criminal record with it?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
is this-
not- that's you go
Or is
through
this
court.
just some municipal fine
You
thing?
go through court, and whatever the magistrate decides to do with that
Mhm.
matter is up to the magistrate.
Mhm.
Yeah, to be clear, it's not a local council fine. It's that the council got the cops involved, and now he would have a criminal record. So, yes, they escalated that way beyond what I personally believe they had any right or authority to.
okay, so Acting Secretary Shantz of Brisbane.
And what happens? Do I get taken to jail?
Mr. Elston, I'm providing you with a move on direction due to your behaviour causing an obstruction to people and interfering with people's business in their area and members of the public wanting to peacefully pass through here. Okay, so I now require you to immediately leave the area. Well, now direct
I
you
saw
to
something
immediately
that
leave the
offended my
area
delicate sensibilities.
for a period
Call the
of,
police.
say, about 6 hours from now, by which time most of the businesses around here are closed and your conduct is unlikely to cause an obstruction as far as police are concerned for us with you. Okay? There's your ID back.
And so what happens if I don't move? I go to jail?
So if you fail to comply with that move on direction, you may be arrested for contravening that direction.
So yeah, you're going to go to jail.
And does that involve jail? Because I have a lawsuit against your government
Okay, so
next
you
week.
just,
I need to
I
be
just need you to move outside of the Queen Street Mall area, which is bounded by. So Adelaide Street is the next.
I forgot this was the week before he wound up in the courts against the e-safety commissioner. I completely forgot about that.
Next main street down there. Edward Street is the next street down that way. Elizabeth Street is this street here. And George Street is the street at the top of the mall. Okay? And that's for a period of 6 hours. Do you have any questions in relation to that move on direction?
So I'm a man of integrity and truth, and it is not true that I was obstructing anyone. And I don't think I can, in good conscience, yield to this.
See, I fucking hate it, but at this point, dude, you have been given a lawful move on order. This is the point where you don't bother getting arrested. This is the point where you make sure that everything is recorded and you file a civil suit.
Act of authoritarianism when it's based on lies, and I'm not comfortable
Are you
moving.
not going to comply with that?
No.
No? Okay, all right. So,
I'm going to head that way then. I'm going to use reasonable force, whether I need it for hands or not. We're
All
going to
right.
walk down that way.
Can I carry
Okay?
my phone with me?
That'd be great. Carry your own phone? Great.
All
I
right.
don't have to touch your things, and that works.
I'm being arrested.
Should you video the police during a traffic stop? That's next.
God, that was just some bullshit, honestly. I'm still waiting to hear what the actual outcome of that was. I'm pretty sure he wound up being arrested. I don't know if they formally charged him or if there's now a pending case. I need to look into that. But it never should have come to that. I do not genuinely believe that anyone in local government should have that kind of power. And yeah, the cops didn't really initially want to have to do anything. Their hands were kind of tied, and admittedly, they got a bit exasperated with him. But, I mean, shit, what are you supposed to do? Anyway, this was a video that I found that I have no idea about the contents of it, so he continued to protest and they left undisturbed. I doubt it. I doubt it.
I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, the place where Aussie new car buyers save thousands off their next new cars. Hit me up on the website for that. This question about filming the cops, it's all over the web. So let's drill right down into it. I think you should always film them whenever you are pulled over. But up front, I feel obligated to tell you that I am not a lawyer. So the
Yeah, no shit. I didn't realize when I queued up this video. What, like, okay, I'm assuming this is what you guys in the US feel about me when I comment on US cases and stuff. Like, what is the purpose or, like, expertise that you have as to whether or not it's appropriate to film cops? I mean, the answer to that is always yes, but still.
The comments I make here are not legal advice to you. They're just observations based upon my research and conversations that I've had with various lawyers over the years. Also, this research is Shitsville specific. And by Shitsville, I mean New South Wales, Australia's most populous state, home of the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. Yes. Mileage may vary in other jurisdictions, obviously. First up, why would you even want to film the cops? Well, I'd suggest it's because they're lying assholes, at least potentially. And the Highway Patrol here in Shitsville is the closest thing that we have to an outbreak of full-blown Gestapo. They routinely overstep their authority, and they just hope that you will roll with it like a good boy.
Jesus Christ, this guy's written this script almost as bad as my ones with the when I do the koala thing. Wow, he's going all in.
Traffic stop. The cops have a lot of power, or at least a lot of discretion to use it. So a good place to start is don't be a dick. Be respectful, be quietly spoken and polite, but pass the attitude test, whatever else you do. Note that I did not just say, bend over and hum Moon River while they violate you. You don't have to do that. So let's look at what the cops themselves say about being filmed on the job. According to Shitsville's finest, from the New South Wales Police Force Media Handbook, members of the public have the right to take photographs or film police officers which are observable from a public space or from a privately owned place with the consent of the owner or occupier. So there's that. Generally speaking, if a person takes photographs or videos police officers, operations or incidents from a public space, police...
Then you're clean and clear, basically, which is true. So long as the officers are operating in the public, there's no right to privacy, there's no expectation of privacy, and that doesn't extend to just because they're in uniform.
Do not have the power to prevent the person from taking photographs or filming, confiscate photographic or filming equipment, delete images or recordings, or request or order a person to delete images or recordings. In the light of that, then, have a look at this peanut.
You want to turn that off? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I won't turn it off. Yeah. I won't turn it off. Place it around the other way. I'm not going to, but thank you. Place it around the other way and do as you're told. No, I'm allowed to record. No, you're not. Yes, sir.
Perhaps someone should send him back to the academy with his tail between his legs. In fact, if police officers try to confiscate equipment or interfere with members of the public to delete images or recordings, the officers may be liable for prosecution for assault or trespass to the person concerned. This is, of course, how TV news and current affairs...
I just want to say, by the way, for someone that said you're not a lawyer, you're speaking with a little bit of authority there that you probably shouldn't be, mate. I appreciate the content, but holy shit, you could be getting yourself in trouble. But he's not wrong. Honestly, if a cop lays hands on you to try and obtain your mobile phone from you, then it is trespass both to your person and to your goods. So
procures so much of the police operational footage that you see on the small screen each night. So take a look at this pelican doing the uniform a gross disservice, in my personal opinion.
So you're recording me at the moment?
Yes.
Because if you're doing that, you can turn it off because that's an offence.
No, it's not.
It is an offence.
No,
An
it's
offence
not.
that the listening device is at. You can
No,
turn it
it's
off
not.
now before
No.
you commit an offence.
No.
Absolutely not.
It's not an offence at all, mate.
Well, mate, at this stage, if you don't turn that off, you are going to be arrested for not giving you consent to record me.
Or whatever, mate.
He doesn't need it.
All right, mate, turn the truck off, please.
Here in the beautiful former convict paradise of Shitsville, the Surveillance Devices Act 2007 regulates the use of listening devices. Specifically, it's illegal to eavesdrop on or record private conversations. I distinctly remember when I was a host on talk radio, this woman rings in on the open line during the regular technology segment because she wanted the best smartphone on the market to covertly record conversational admissions she hoped to elicit from her ex-husband. We pointed out that was kind of a bad idea. However, during a traffic stop, it's debatable whether or not you're in a private conversation. It seems to me there's a clear expectation.
No. Fuck that. It's not a private conversation. Even if you are pulled over on the side of the road, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy if you're in public. A street and a road is, by definition, a public area. Anyone can pull over at any point in time for any reason. There is no, absolutely not.
That a record of what you say will be used by the cops in court to prosecute you if you make any admissions that have good evidentiary value, or if they just decide to lie. Heaven forbid. The Surveillance Devices Act says it is legal to record a conversation if you're a party to it, as you are during a traffic stop, provided it is reasonably necessary for the protection of the lawful interest of that principal party, i.e. you. Or if the recording is not made for the purpose of communicating or publishing the conversation or a report of it to persons who are not parties to the conversation. On the basis of all of that then, it seems to me that a traffic stop takes place in a public space. It seems to me there's no presumption of privacy in any official conversation with the cops. They're procuring evidence for official purposes. It seems to me that as a party to this kind of stressful interaction, you might reasonably need to protect your lawful interests, or at the very least, maintain an accurate record of what was actually said. Of course, all of this recording...
And I tell you what, God help the cops that ever stop me now that I've got the recording set up. I mean, look, you guys will hear and see pretty much everything.
It's not going to be that useful if what you do, in fact, is make a recording of you dumping yourself right in it. That's really not going to help. According to LY Lawyers, and you might recall I interviewed the practice's principal, Adam Lee, a few months back. Here's what they say. Courts recognise that recording police activities is legal. However, with technology and laws constantly changing, some police officers have not yet been trained otherwise. They may also feel his or her authority is being challenged and react accordingly. Nothing like having your finger on...
Which they shouldn't do anyway. If they feel like their authority is being challenged and they rage quit about it or they throw someone into the ground, they shouldn't be on the force irrespective.
The pulse, huh? Boys in blue. I guess they might also be spoiled, self-entitled, double-digit IQ brats used to throwing their considerable weight around and getting their own way. I'm paraphrasing. Many police officers and citizens in Australia believe that as soon as a police officer tells you to do or not to do something, that it is an order. However...
Nope. Got to be a reasonably enforceable... what is it? No, it's got to be a reasonable... Fuck, what's the wording? It's got to be a reasonable order. And there has to be a legal reason for it.
police can only order citizens to do something or not based on the current laws in effect. Those boys in blue, you know, they're actually very good indeed at dressing up baseless requests to look as if they are legally binding commands. You turn that camera off. If you are approached by the police while recording them, you should calmly explain what you are doing and state you have a legal right to do so. So here's the top 8 things I suggest you do during a traffic stop.
Oh, this will be interesting. Okay, be polite but assertive. Leave your camera on. Keep your hands visible at all times. I'm trying to think now. Never exit the vehicle.
Number 1, try really hard not to be a dick. Just because you're entitled to film, you don't have to be an outright dipshit about it. Don't be a smart ass. Don't ask the cops when they drop the height, weight, and or fitness requirements to join the force. Don't do that. It's really not going to help. Instead, play it completely straight. Call him officer and don't swear. P's and Q's all round. Number 2, be respectful, but do not make any admissions. Police are very good at extracting admissions, which will definitely be used against you, so don't make any. Do you know how fast you were going? Do you know why I've pulled you over?
And the correct answer to that is not I don't know, because if you say I don't know here, they can get you for improper operation of a motor vehicle. What you want to say is, I'm sure you're going to tell me, officer.
Because I was speeding? Bow. Case closed. Go to jail. Do not collect $200. Your worship, he told me he thought I had stopped him because he was speeding. This could be the only evidence against you, so don't do that. Number 3, the best way not to make admissions is not to answer questions. Do you know why I've stopped you? Officer, I respectfully decline to answer your questions during this interview. Repeat. You have a right to silence. There's nothing shady about it whatsoever. Normal rules of social discourse do not apply during a roadside stop. You are not in a position to exonerate yourself here, so all you can do is damage your case by talking. Are you trying to be a smart ass? Officer, I respectfully decline to answer your questions during this interview. Point number 4, you are not required to incriminate yourself. If the cops find you standing over the body of your boss, if you've got a 12-inch French chef's knife in your hand, if his blood is all over you and if your DNA and prints are all over the knife, if 36 of your co-workers saw you stab him 35 times and the whole thing is recorded on high definition CCTV, you don't have to say, you got me fair and square. I did it. There's an orgy of evidence, so it's probably not going to help, but you don't have to admit it. And if you don't have to admit it, in these blood-stained circumstances, you certainly don't have to admit it. For 65 in a 60 zone, you just don't. Procuring the evidence that you did it, that's his job, certainly not yours. Number 5, don't use your phone. I know, it's there.
Holy fuck, I kind of wish that I was half as entertaining as this guy. Wow. Like, I get this is a pre-recorded video and that he spent a lot of time probably tweaking the script and all that sort of stuff, but damn if these jokes aren't funny to me.
There, it'll do it. It's a perfect option, seemingly, except here in Shitsville, it's actually illegal to touch your phone while driving. And technically, you might still be driving while stopped at the roadside, and that might be a traffic offence. Use a point-and-shoot camera or a GoPro. There's no similar prohibition on touching one of those. Number 6, press record before you do anything else. It's such a stressful situation. So easy to forget in this situation, right? Grab the camera, power it up, hit record, and prepare to say nothing with extreme politeness. Number 7, if he tells you to stop filming, calmly say something like, "Officer, respectfully, according to your media handbook, I am entitled to film you in the course of your duty and I decline to turn the camera off." If he tells you that this is a breach of the Surveillance Devices Act, calmly say that you are in a public place and you are recording to protect your lawful interests as allowed under the Act. This is substantially different to saying, "I don't trust you, mate. You're all lying pricks. Go to buggery." At least the words are different, right? You're kind of playing thinks and says here. Thinks, piss off, idiot. This is my right. Says, respectfully, I'm going to decline your request to stop filming, officer. This game also helps a lot with marriage and in the workplace. Just saying. Number 8, comply with all lawful directives. License, breath test, all of that, definitely comply. Enthusiastically. Number 9, keep the camera in plain sight. Do not do any covert recording. And
wait, what the fuck? Where did number 9 come from? You said that there were 8 things. You copped $250 for being 4Ks over? That sucks. Well, I mean, frequent watchers of the channel will know that Lady Overlaw'd recently copped $495 for entering a red light 1.1 second after it had turned red in the rain. I was going to fight that. Then she and I got into a fight and I said, fuck it.
don't hinder the officer in the conduct of his duty. Number 10, if he grabs the camera, arrests you, whatever, don't resist. Remain absolutely polite and respectful. However, clearly and unequivocally do not consent to any request to search the vehicle or your person. Let the lawyers sort that one out. Do you mind if I take a quick look in the boot? It's just procedure. That's a trunk
Absolutely
in
not.
Retardistan. Absolutely not, officer. The bottom line is record the traffic stop at all costs. Be tremendously polite in inverse proportion to how you'd like to act and what you'd really like to say. This is a game and you might as well be good at it. The more polite, reasonable and respectful you are and the more of an asshole he becomes, the better the footage is going to look for you in court if it comes to that. Remember that the cops cannot compel you to stop filming. They're in a box just like you and me. Only sometimes they like to think they make the rules up on the fly. And their main weapon here is the ignorance and fear of the poor schlep they've stopped, followed closely by intimidation. I'm John Cadogan. Before I let you go, a smoking hot blonde gets pulled over by a smoking hot blonde police officer. And I know this sounds like the screenplay to one of your favourite movies, but it's not. But it could be, with a minor rewrite and a macro lens. Anyway, Officer Blonde Hottie says, "License, please." And she gets a blank stare in return. "What's a driver's license look like?" says smoking hot blonde hottie driver. Sergeant Blonde Hottie explains, "It's kind of small and it's got your picture on it." Frantic search of the Bergen handbag and shoes. Makeup compact, check. She flips it open. She has a look, hands it over. Officer Blonde Hottie takes a look, says,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize
"You're free to go, ma'am. And if I'd known you were a police officer just like me, we could have avoided all this fuss." I hope this helps. It certainly helped me. Thanks for watching.
I might have to see if I can reach out to him and see if I can do an interview or something, because that was funny. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't necessarily agree with every piece of advice that he did, but I'm impressed with the level of quality that he put into the script. Why is everyone going so fucking slow? Why is the traffic so bunched up? It's not usually this bad.
And if you want to listen up, if you're with CommBank, you're want to be aware of this. They've sent this email out to goodness knows how many thousands, perhaps millions of people with CommBank. It seems fairly innocuous at first. It's called Know Your Customer, and they just want to know more detail.
Now, so this is a follow-on from what happened with Lewis Christopher a couple of days ago. About a week ago. The guy that basically received a Know Your Customer email where they said, if you don't tell us the details of why you made certain payments, where your wealth comes from, where your income comes from, all that sort of jazz, we're going to freeze your accounts and not let you have access to your money. Well, as it turns out, CommBank's been pushing the boundaries a little bit further than I thought they had. So let's have a look.
About you, have a check in the pulse, see what you're after. Are you happy with our service? But read the fine print and you will be absolutely disgusted, as was Lewis Christopher. He's the founder of a respected property research firm. And upon reading this email, it was so invasive, he thought to himself, this has got to be a scam. This cannot be legitimate. The questions that they're asking.
I honestly couldn't believe it myself when I read through the entire email, but having seen some recent developments in the stuff with the finance work that I'm doing, it is completely and utterly legitimate, but I do believe that the big banks are pushing the boundaries. Because, for example, I've got to deal with some of this Know Your Customer stuff now, but I don't believe that the requirements are being pushed on them by Austrac the way that the banks are saying that they are.
Me, he calls up the bank and to his utter disgust, he said, this thing's Orwellian. They said, no, it's legitimately from us. Particularly, they wanted to know why he had cash because they knew that he'd made withdrawals. What are you doing with that cash? Why do you have cash in your home? He says, what I have just gone through this morning with CBA is disgusting. This is him telling the media about it. He said it's absolutely despicable, Orwellian stuff driven by Austrac. Austrac, for your information, is a financial intelligence agency. That should worry you straight off the bat. He said,
for the most part, they hide behind the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism bill. The main bulk of that is that if there's any payments over $10,000, either in cash or a suspicious transaction, and it's aggregate now as well. It's not just you can't just walk in and go, oh, here's $9,999, and then the next day bring in another $9,999. No, it's an aggregate period. If there's a significant deposit or withdrawal of cash over a period, the bank or financial institution, or even lawyers, as of 1st of July next year, are required to report it to Austrac. I still can't believe that. They're roping lawyers into this shit now too.
Just out of the blue, the bank sent me the enclosed email and demanded to know, 1, how have I built up my wealth? 2, why have I made cash withdrawals? 3, if I am holding cash at home, why? 4, why did I make certain transactions to third parties? He said, I called the bank and it was true. They were going to suspend all my accounts this week if I didn't tell them the answers to the above questions. They said Austrac gave them the authority to do that.
No, Robin. Not lawyers for the bank. Lawyers in general. If clients come in and they make a transaction and they give us money in our trust account over $10,000, if it's in cash, or in other circumstances where we believe that the transaction is suspicious, we're required to report it to Austrac. Supposedly. I have to dig deeper into that. I mean, I personally have been paying much attention because I'm personally getting out of dealing with things that involve trust money. So, don't really have to worry about it if you're not practicing in it. But I'm finding it to be quite disturbing to think that they're turning lawyers who are supposed to have privilege with their clients into a reporting agency.
And get this pullout from their email. This is what they were threatening to do if he didn't answer those questions satisfactorily by end of week. This is the email from CommBank. They threatened to remove your ability to use and access your account or accounts, remove your ability to use any linked cards, including at ATMs, at point of sales and online, remove your ability to view and access your account or accounts on NetBank and the CommBank app, and stop any scheduled transactions, direct debits, direct credits, or regular.
Now, that's the part that really rubs me the wrong way, because as far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't have the right to stop off direct debits, because basically that has the ability to be used and abused. That gives them the ability to say, oh, hey, here's a suspicious transaction. You haven't provided us this. We're going to make your mortgage go into default. I'm sorry, but that to me is disgusting. Well, Grifter, there's been videos of guys going into banks and giving ridiculous responses, and frankly, that's going to be my go-to way of dealing with it in the future if someone asks me why I'm dealing in cash. The guy was some of the answers the guy gave was, oh, well, I'm paying for my mother's boob job. I got caught cheating by my girlfriend and I have to buy her some roses. There was a whole series on it. But as far as I'm concerned, a government agency, and by extension banks, don't have any goddamn right to know what I do with my own money. And the only reason they're doing this is so that it can be traced, tracked, and taxed. That's all it is.
Payments. This, of course, is all part of the push toward digital currency, digital banking. Now, did anyone vote for this? No, baby, but they want you to go digital, and they're not asking. Remember, just last financial year, we saw 200 bank outlets closed here in Australia. Over the past 5 years, we saw 6,000 ATMs shut up shop in Australia. That is in just 5 years. We saw Australia's 1/3 of bank branches close. That's what that equates to. And more than half of Australia's ATMs. What is happening? Not just this massive breach of privacy, but these people's refusal to understand that cash is still very important to people. But of course, the authorities don't like.
Honestly, at this point, I'm going to have to start taking chicken eggs in exchange for doing wills.
Like that, because they don't know how you're spending your money, when you're spending your money, where you are when you spent that money, or why you've spent that money. They're completely in the dark. They don't like it, and they're clamping down so hard, the bank has no shame sending you an email saying, you've made some withdrawals. Where is that cash? What are you doing with it? Is it at home? Why is it at home? Here was this fellow, Lewis Christopher, talking to Ross Greenwood this afternoon on Business Now.
When they went into demanding to know what I'm doing with cash, have I got cash at home?
Have you got cash at home? Why would
everybody else has a bit of cash at home.
That's right.
And then to ask why I've got cash at home.
Yes.
Like, hang on.
It's not a goddamn
And this is a security risk for me and my family.
I'm looking after my family. We need cash on hand. I mean, who among us doesn't have some cash on hand in the case of emergencies? We've seen even in recent months, the lines go down. There's full shopping trolleys at Woolies and everywhere else. People are suddenly unable to buy or do any kind of transaction because they don't have cash on hand.
The Commonwealth Bank of Australia have released a statement explaining what's happened. Here's their statement. They said, we're required to manage our customers' accounts in line with the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Act 2006, which sets out that all banks operating within Australia are required to collect, verify and maintain customer identification information, which raises the question, customer identification, how does knowing the amount of cash you've got
they know who he is
under your mattress,
he's got the account with
help the bank to identify you? How does the bank knowing why you gave money to a particular party help them to identify you? They've gone way beyond their own statement, have they not?
You'd imagine most blokes, if they copped a call from the bank and said, what are you doing with all this cash? You'd say, please don't tell the missus. But I mean, for goodness sake, like Austrac, the mob that drives all
That's
of this,
disgusting, Brett.
which
I'm
is
sorry to hear
a
about that.
governmental department. They look after or
No
monitor
surprise.
financial transactions. Their remit is to stop, money laundering and crime and this sort of thing, right? But for as long as I can get 17 calls a day from scammers, and I drive around parts of Sydney with pretty rundown houses with very expensive cars parked out the front of them, presumably not from legitimate business, why are they going after a legitimate businessman who's been successful? You can't tell me that there are not other things that they should be doing, 100 other things that should be in line before they start calling up legitimate, successful people and saying, you must tell us what you are doing with your money. It's no business of yours what I'm doing with my money. If I want to go and gamble it all away, I'm well within my rights to do that. We're talking about a legitimate businessman. And yet there are people running around dealing drugs and laundering money and whatever all day, every day. And as far as I know, they're not having their bank accounts frozen because they keep doing business. But this bloke who runs a legitimate business is being told, no, you'll get shut down unless you tell us where the money is under your bed.
Victoria's new emergency services tax isn't just a levy, it's legalized theft.
And we're going to save that one just because we're already way too close to the end of the show, so. Oh. So there you go, folks. How do we feel about that in terms of a format change? Watching some videos, commenting on some crap. Don't worry, we'll get to the fire services levy stuff. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it anyway. I was hoping that video might help me understand a little bit, but as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely disgusting that they're trying to do what they're doing anyway. If my understanding of it is correct. So. Love it, like it. Well, if you do, please, by all means, people, feel free to send me videos to react to and to... Because I'll be perfectly honest, this is really easy for me to clip up as well and upload as videos. So... But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I kind of feel like these are a little bit easier to deal with than the court and body cam videos as well, because a lot of that's visual. Whereas at least if it's a video like that, I can actually stop and give commentary and that sort of thing. And it sort of like makes a little bit more sense, shall we say? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, specifically on Mondays for me, I'll be able to do it anyway because there won't be any court for Karen Reid. But, I mean, I'm talking about more in terms of once Karen Reid's over because, I mean, I was looking at the Coburger case. I don't think that I can do another 3-month trial. At least not unless we move. In that case, I can start doing night times again. But we'll just have to wait and see because... Lady Overlaw'd still wants to wait another year before we move. She wants for things to settle down and that sort of thing. I'm not sure if it's financially viable for us to do that because it feels like we're burning money just for it. I mean, I know happy wife, happy life, but as it sounds, happy child too, so. Cobra will be longer than 3 months? Damn. All right. Well, anyway, people, thank you so much for keeping me company. Thank you for being here for law news and laughter. As always, please remember, you are not a piece of shit. You have value and do contribute to society, especially for being here. And as always, people, please, you're not a piece of shit. Wait, didn't I just say that? Fuck, my brain is scrambled. Either way, you're not a piece of shit. You have value and you're welcome here. You're loved, you're whatever else. So hit the like button. Come on, you know you want it. And thank you to everyone that was commenting as well. The last video had like 200 views. And somehow had 11 comments. It's like a record for me. But, yeah. Tell your family, tell your friends. Let them know that there's an Australian that likes to rant and rave and laugh at funny shit. But, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, people. And I will catch you all shortly.
And again, on your way out, please do me the favor of hit the like and subscribe button if you're so inclined. It costs nothing. It's absolutely free. And we'll be friends forever. Bye now.
Unfortunately, some members of the media
Some members of the media
use their platforms to push their own personal bias. To push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.